Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, thank you. So I guess we'll just go quickly through this, and I'll kind of explain like what I'm teaching because community service, I guess it's not really a topic that you really learn in school. So it might be a little bit foreign to some of you guys. So I guess I'll get started and explain my part. So I am teaching the course Community Service Project, and basically, credential-wise, I have done a bunch of different service projects. Being in Boy Scouts, I've been forced to, well, not forced, but I'm doing one every single month since I was very young. And I did a lot of really large projects as well, including my Eagle Scout project, where I built a 30-foot by 50-foot garden at my high school for the special education program there. So I have quite a bit of experience in community service and helping out with a lot of other people's projects, as well as like mentoring other scouts in how to develop their own projects. But credentials aside, here's the nitty-gritty of what this community service project course actually teaches you. So students will learn the basic process of creating a service project as well as completing their own unique project by the end of the course. So what this means is that we'll go through the process of how to find an idea for a community service project, how to develop that idea into something viable, something doable, and then taking that doable idea, writing a proposal for it, finding the beneficiary, which is like someone you want to do the project for. Say, for me, the garden project was for the special education at my high school, the special education program at my high school. So that program was the beneficiary. So we'll look at the proposal process, and then we'll look at what you need to find out for fundraising and everything like that, and then actually creating the project itself. We'll actually have each student completely do their own project. We'll have them say it's either building something or creating a website, anything they want to do. We'll have them actually complete the project. Then after doing the project and building it and getting the okay from the beneficiary, I'll teach them how to write a project report, which is essentially what you do at the very end to summarize what you've done and basically say, this is what I've done. So this is what I've done for my service project. And it'll give us a full description of that. So the objectives of this course is, like I said, fully learn the development of a project idea, proposal, execution, and report. And then each student will find their own unique idea, something that is meaningful to them and a project that they want to complete. Then they'll take that idea and go through the steps that I've taught them, taking the idea, developing it into a proposal, and then executing, and then writing the report. So they'll carry out the service project and write their report. Okay, so let's see. What to expect. So give me 1 second, let me admit some of these people in. All right, sorry about that. What to expect from this course. Community service is one of those things that you can't really teach in a classroom. That's why a lot of colleges seek it. It's because it's not something that you can sit down and learn from a teacher. It's all about firsthand experience, going out, doing the project yourself, and getting the experience on your own. I can be a mentor for them. I can guide them as to how to do the project, what to look for, some tips on like the best ways to fundraise, who to contact for beneficiaries, who to contact for materials, things like that, and how to really complete the project. But most of that work and research has to be done by the student themselves. So even within our class, because each project is so specific to the student, I really want the project to be something meaningful to each student. So because of this, they'll be doing a lot of the research and a lot of the work on their own. So I want students to know that that's the expectation, for them to handle a lot of it on their own. If they have any questions or they have any concerns or they need any help at all, they can come to me, and I am more than willing to help them out. But I want them to know that most of the work should be done on their own. Let's jump back a little bit. All right, so the biggest part of service projects is that it is also partly kind of a agreement with the beneficiary. So when I created my Eagle project, I had to sign a contract. I won't be forcing the students to sign any kind of contracts or anything like that, so it's not truly legally binding, but I want you to know that the second you work with the beneficiary and you agree to do this project, it's a true agreement that you should not break. So you need to see this project through if you have accepted it and the beneficiary has said yes as well. So because of this, I really need students who are incredibly interested and willing to be part of this class. You know, community service isn't something that you can really force onto other people. And it's a lot of the times it's very, very intense. So I want to make sure that the student is very willing to put in the work. As our main goal is to learn how to carry out a project and actually complete one, there will be a lot of work done outside of class and contacting people. So I want the students to be ready for that as well. Chat. All right. So next is the current schedule for how it looks right now. So week 1 will just be introductions and kind of discussing what community service means and what it accomplishes. So obviously the basic introductions of who we are and try to get to know each other better, because I like to think that a fun classroom usually results in more learning. So after the introductions and things like that, we'll just kind of discuss what community service means. When I say what community service means, I mean what it means to each specific student. Community service means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So for me, it's the idea of giving back to a community that gave everything to me. So I want to find out what community service means to each student, and based on that, how we can truly apply ourselves to community service and to these service projects. Next, in week 2, this is when we'll actually start getting into the service project. We'll find ideas for our service projects and see which ones are viable ideas, which ones aren't. Remember that no service project is too large and no service project is too small to count as a service project. So it can really be anything. The only issue is we want to keep reality in check as well. So we have 7 weeks to complete this project. That's a very, very tight schedule. So we want to think in terms of those 7 weeks and what we can accomplish within those 7 weeks. We don't want to choose something so large that we won't be able to get it done. We also don't want to choose something so small that it's meaningless to us. So we have to find the right balance. So that'll be mostly week 2. We'll discuss what are good project ideas, and I want each of the students to find 2 or 3 good project ideas that mean something to them and that they would really, really like to see happen. And then we'll go through the basic project proposal steps. So I'll teach them how to write one, and I'll teach them what needs to be included and things like that. So I just got a question. Can the student get the service hour credit if they complete the service project in this class? That is a great question. I would say 100% they can get the service hour credit, because one thing I'll start with them on week 1 is doing something called these hour logs, where they'll kind of mark down how much time they've spent on each thing. And by doing so, they can log how many hours they'll get. But remember, the focus of this class is to make sure that I'm really trying to inspire the students to want to do community service for them. But yeah, so as long as you have the beneficiary to sign off on these hours, you'll 100% get service hours for this as well. All right, so week 3 will be, between week 2 and week 3, I want the students to take their ideas, choose one of them, write a project proposal. And when I say write a project proposal, I've already taught them how to write a proper one. So I want them to come to me with proper project proposals. I would like for them to email them in ahead of time for now, so I can read through them beforehand, and then in class I can give corrections, and I can say, well, for this proposal, I'd like you to do a bit more research on the materials list or who it's benefiting or something like that. I want to make sure that each student is aware of what they have to do and what is still lacking. So once we finalize the entirety of the project proposals, in week 3, we'll also kind of discuss what else needs to be researched. Are there extra steps involved? These beneficiaries, do they truly need this? Or how to get in contact with them. And then we'll start talking about how to contact each person, be it the beneficiary or someone who's providing materials. And from there, I'll explain proper fundraising. So when I say proper fundraising, it means how to go out and legitimately get fundraising for your project. So this is a crucial part of community service as well, not just the building. So I know a lot of parents will be tempted to just give their children the money for it, but I want the students to also go out and go either door to door or even just calling over the phone, things like that. We can use multiple different resources, GoFundMe, things like that. Those are all things that I've used before, and they work really, really well. So for the projects the scale of the projects we have in mind, it should be doable within a few weeks to gather all the fundraising for it. So week 4, all of the project proposals should be done, and everyone should be fundraising.
In this video, we'll play a fun game where we try to guess how different people are feeling.
Where are you?
After we figure out
Where are
how
you
each
being,
person is feeling, we'll
Yeah,
mark
go to
them.
Okay, sorry about that. All right, so for week 5, week 4, we are now finally doing, the students should be doing, finishing up their research, should be doing fundraising, should have already contacted the beneficiary who they want to help, and should be now looking for materials, how to select everything, and how to get everything ready to be built. So this means that they have all their materials in check, they have what they need, they have who they're helping, they have agreements done already. And if anyone still needs help with all of that, week 4 is the day to come in and say, hey, I still need help getting these things together. So we'll go through with each student, making sure everything is all set for building. So the weeks between week 4 and week 5, I want the students to actually start working on carrying out their projects. So by week 5, the second project check, everyone should be well underway in their projects, and many of them should be carrying out their projects in that time. By week 6, I want most of the projects done by week 6. And if it's not done, then I want them to be at least very close to complete. The reason why I say this is because I want to give them proper time to also do a project report. But because of this tight schedule, there may be things that fall short and anything like that. And I will be working with each student individually to make sure that everything is caught up. So by week 6, I want pretty much everything to be done. Also in week 6, I will be teaching them how to write a project report. So the project report, think of it as like a very large summary of everything you've done in the past 6 weeks. Like it'll include all the steps you went through to go through your proposals and who you had to contact, how the project turned out, how much money you spent, all these different statistics that I'll teach them about. This will essentially be how we look at your final project, and it'll include a lot of the information that you don't see through project proposals or things like that. So week 7, between week 6 and week 7, I want the students to go home and write up their entire project report. So by week 7, I want all the reports done, and that would also mean that all of their projects are completed as well. So week 7, we'll go through each student's project report. So by doing this, we get like a really cool snapshot of every single person's project. I want each student to be like, good friends with each other, so that throughout the weeks, they are actually helping each other as well, giving each other ideas, whatever that may be. So by week 7, it's just kind of a celebration of everyone's hard work. So this question, can Ray attend? How old is Ray? Could I ask? All right, well, I'll get an answer soon. So for the next question, do you actually do a project, or you imagine a community service project? I want to actually do the project. So first I'll teach them all the steps to do it, and then I'll have them go through each step and actually execute the project. So this is earlier on when I said that I need to make sure each student is truly passionate about community service. The reason why is because this service projects are kind of like an agreement that you shouldn't break. So since we're actually going to be doing the projects, I need to make sure that they can see it through and that they're willing to put an effort to see it through. Yeah. All right, so then week 7, like I said, will just kind of be a celebration. We'll read through everyone's project report, and we'll kind of talk through their experience on the projects, what they enjoyed, what they disliked, what was hard, what was easy, things like that. And I really hope week 7 will be like a time for everyone to realize how much they've actually done, and like how amazing it is that they've all completed a service project within 7 weeks. Yeah, so who should join? This is very, very important. Because we lowered the class cost to only $10, the reason why is because I don't really feel right asking for money to teach community service. I kind of think of this class as also my way of giving back to the community. And all of the things that my credentials, be it working in scouting, creating my own projects, or helping others, mentoring them in their projects, they're all things that I couldn't have achieved without my community and without free help as well. So I wanted to do my best to mentor them. And because it's so cheap, I need to remind everyone that most of the work is done by them. Even within classes, since each project is so specific to a student, I will be working with each student specifically a lot of the time. So with that extra time, I don't want them slacking off in class. I want them doing research in the middle of class while I'm working with another student or while I'm addressing something. I want them to be constantly doing research and constantly looking for ways to improve their project, or to, take down how much time it requires and to make sure the quality is there. So because of all of this work and the fact that I'm not going to be able to completely hold their hand through every single step of the process, I really need quality students who are very, very passionate about community service. A lot of times, especially in the Asian community, I hear a lot about like, oh, it looks great on college applications. And sure, it does. I can't deny that community service doesn't look good on college applications. But community service, I think, should be done without an ulterior motive in mind. It should be done purely out of the goodness of your heart, of wanting to give back to the community. So I want that to be at the top of each student's minds, because if that's what they truly feel and that's what they're going off of, then they'll be able to do better projects and they'll be able to have more things to talk about. And ultimately, that'll be better for colleges than anything else. So next is, like I said, just truly passionate about community service. It's not easy, I'll tell you that. My Eagle Scout project, I worked with the school system, and it was very, very difficult. It took me almost a year and a half, maybe 2 years, to just going from the idea phase to fully completing and reporting it. It took me an incredibly long time, 2 years just to project propose, to fundraise, to build, and I had so much help in doing so. the fact that we're trying to do all of that in 7 weeks is really mind-boggling. So not only will the scale have to be smaller, but each student really needs to be willing to put in as much work as possible. So this isn't something that students can be kind of forced into, because once they start and they see all this hard obstacles in the way, no matter how hard you push someone, they won't take the leap unless they truly want to. So I just want to make that very, very clear, because I know a lot of parents really want to push their children to community service, which is wonderful. I always want to advocate for more people doing community service. It's just, I need to make sure the people in this 7-week program are really ready to take the initiative and to push their tasks forward. They have to be constantly on top of things. They have to be constantly doing work, and they have to really make sure that the quality of their work is there, so that the beneficiaries that they're helping, the people that they're giving this service to, truly want it and truly are appreciative of it. So I just need to make that very, very clear. And yeah, one thing though is there will be a lot of speaking involved. I also have quite a lot of experience in public speaking, and hopefully through this experience, for those shyer students, I want to kind of break them out of their shell, because quite a lot of students have trouble talking with adults, and this will be their opportunity to kind of force them out into the open. So the best way to do that is enthusiasm. I want to make sure each student knows about this beforehand, that I want them to be as enthusiastic as possible, because when they do things with enthusiasm, people are likely to want to help them and to see their passion. So the last point I want to make is making sure that they stay on top of their work and deadlines. There are a lot of missed opportunities because of that. Trust me, I have very personal experience with that. So those are just the few points that I want not only parents but students to consider if they really, really want to join this, because they truly need to be passionate about community service in order to fulfill the tight restraints of this class. And in the end, I really hope to inspire the students, not to scare them off of community service, obviously, but I want to inspire the students to take on more projects. Once you complete one, and that feeling of the feeling you get from seeing the faces of the people that you help so happy, and that sense of satisfaction and achievement that you get from completing a project really is 100% worth it, in my opinion. So I want to give other students this opportunity to feel that as well, and to be inspired to do more in the future. All right, so I had a few questions in chat, but are there any other questions? You guys can unmute and ask away. So I'll be here if you guys have any questions.
Hi, Richard. There are some questions in the chat box.
Right. So I think I answered a few of these. So for service hours, you will definitely get service hours, because again, you're making an agreement with a beneficiary. Let's see. So because you're making an agreement with the beneficiary, they'll be able to sign off on any service hours, things, anything at all. So you will be getting service hour credit for it. Yeah, Ms. Xu also mentioned that you'll be getting service hour that counted toward the Kappa's President Community Service Award, which is amazing. All right, so can Ray attend? I still don't know how old Ray is, but really anyone can attend. I would prefer if it would be older students, but I've seen a lot of very, very passionate middle schoolers, so I'm not going to close the door to them either. Just keep in mind that because of the amount of responsibility that comes with a service project and the fact that I won't be able to be there and kind of hold your hand throughout the entire process and be with you every time you go to talk to someone, or be with you while you're researching. There is a lot of responsibility and maturity that needs to be there in order for you to complete this. So when does this start? I think this class starts in a week. I think 2 weeks from now. So yeah. Are all the meetings with you going to be virtually online? Yes, all of them will be through Zoom. AST has graciously offered us 3 separate Zoom accounts that we'll be using at different times. So we'll actually be doing all of these meetings online. However, I want to make sure that they know that most of the work will be done on their own. Outside of class and even in class, I want them to be researching when I'm not either teaching them something or saying anything vital. There will be quite a bit of downtime during class where I work with specific students on specific issues that are to their service project. I will try my best to address like big issues that I see throughout most service projects to everyone, but a lot of the times, since service projects are pretty unique and I want to make sure that each project is meaningful to that specific student, there will be problems specific to certain service projects. And during that downtime when I'm addressing another student's problems, I want everyone else in the class to be doing their own research on their own project and looking for ways to either get more fundraising or whatever it is. Yeah. Any other questions? All right, well, I guess I'll stick around for just a little bit longer if anyone has thought of any new questions or not, but that is the end of my presentation. So thank you guys for listening and coming in and taking time out of your, oh, it is Friday, your busy Friday, and coming here to listen to us ramble about community service or independent research. So thank you guys a lot. Oh, we have new people coming in.